Yeah,
Is this on?
Just got to turn it up.
Thank you. My question, I don't know why I thought about this a few months ago, even before I knew I was going to come here, was if God is so loving and so giving, why did he sacrifice his only son? Why did he send him to such a horrid death? That was my question.
Okay, so the Christian religious viewpoint was that I was the only begotten Son of God, and as a result of my purity, God purposefully sacrificed me in order to obtain the redemption of the human race through my death. Or, to be frank, they often call it through my blood. My blood had to be spilled in order for others of humanity to be saved. Now, that seems very similar to this, doesn't it? In reality, can you see that straight away? It's very similar to this whole concept of what God is. Secondly, let me just use a bit of logic with this. That means that I had to die when I came to Earth in the first century, according to this theory. I had to die. If I had to die, then why couldn't God kill me directly? Oh, and then we go, but if God did that, then God would be bad. So what God needed now was somebody else to kill me. So God needed Pilate and Herod to sentence me, and then Pilate to actually kill me. So why aren't Pilate and Herod just as important in the whole process as I am? If they're involved in the saving of the human race and God needed them to do it. Right? How come they get condemned and I get so-called glory for taking this job on of redeeming the human race through my blood? And how is it that they get condemned when I needed them to kill me before it could all happen? Does that make much sense to you in terms of... There's no logic in the whole thing, is there, when you think about it? But even if there is some logic in the whole thing, the biggest reason why it can't be true is because it basically is portraying God as a God who would sacrifice one child for the benefit of all the other children. Now, let me put to you, you have 5 children. One of your children is especially nice. They're always pleasant, they're always kind, they're always loving to the other children, and the other children get pretty unruly at times. And at times they're actually they're just downright devious and nasty. And in fact, many of the times they attack that one child and want to beat him up or do other things to him, but still, like that one child still is quite kind and loving in its interactions with the other children. Now, as the parent, would it make sense to you that you would get that one child and punish it for the sins committed by the other 4 children? Would you do that? Surely you would even consider the opposite, wouldn't you? Which would be to reward the child who was more loving, and you would look at some other way of treating the children who were as loving, wouldn't you? You certainly wouldn't say to the other children, oh, it's okay what you do. I'm going to let you keep doing what you do, and all of the things that you do, I'm going to punish the nice child for. Now, none of us, logically, as humans, would even consider doing that. And yet, we say that's exactly what God is doing. That's what 1.5 billion Christians on this planet believe. That God done that. Something that they themselves would feel is absolutely abhorrent to do in their own life. They would never consider doing that to their own children. And yet they're saying that God did it with his children. That God chose one child, there's billions of children, and God chose one child to actually suffer for all the sins of the billions of children, which, by the way, must be quite a few sins, right? Now, it is neither logical nor loving to actually believe that that is true. Neither logical nor loving, nor does it portray the correct viewpoint of God.